What could you do in the next 2 weeks that could drastically change your note investing strategy? Stay tuned. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Eddie Speed. Joe is here with us today, but he had a power outage. So I am going to do the opening for you guys today for Note School TV. We are so glad that you're here. Listen, hit your notification so that you know the next time we have a show that it notifies you. And of course, like what we're doing on our Note School TV, and also make sure and make comments. We love hearing from you guys and love seeing the responses of you guys, and it tells us the direction that we need to add or take away from the show. So guys, I'm going to introduce Joe here with us and bring on some news. Mr. Joe, are you coming?
Yes, I am, Eddie. Good morning. And you did a good job there.
Well, you know what, Joe, live TV is what it is. So Joe had a power outage this morning. And so, Joe, I wanted you on the show for sure. And I know the audio will kind of drag down enough that we don't need to do that. But I definitely, what we're going to do today is really critical. First of all, let's talk about some news here, Joe. We're talking about something. These are called agency buybacks. This is where a loan originator has originated a loan to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac specifications. They've sold the loan after they originate to Fannie and Freddie, and now Fannie and Freddie has found a flaw, and they're making the lender buy the loan back.
Yes. And
that's a big deal, Joe. It's been around forever. It's not new, but they're getting really, really tough. And they're basically saying the buybacks are up 759%. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a big number, Eddie. When you get to almost 800%, it's a lot. And the AIME is the American Institute of Mortgage Experts, Eddie. So
yeah, so that's really a big deal. And we've been reading about it and hearing about it on the underwriting side. And Joe, this is not going to make loan originators easier to work with, right? And this is not going to make them stretch. They called it during COVID, when underwriting started getting tighter, they called it COVID overlay. And what it was underwriting that the lenders imposed upon themselves that was actually tighter than Fannie and Freddie's specifications, right? Well, we're gonna continue to see that this is going to get tighter because these lenders cannot buy back these loans. They originate a loan for the purpose of getting sold through the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac conduit. And so that's a big deal.
Right.
Watch for lenders not being very flexible is kind of what this is probably leading to, Joe.
Yeah, all right. We're seeing that every day. Lenders are getting more. Yep.
The underwriting.
Eddie, let's talk about Note. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about Note Expo. So,
okay, so Joe, we've got you actually pulled up the Note Expo website because we want to kind of really talk about what this event is. Let me say this, Joe. We started this event 12 years ago, and the reason we started this event is because we felt like it was really critical that our industry had deeply experienced note professionals, not somebody that just owned a newsletter and didn't do the business very much, or not somebody else that owned a trade show and didn't do the business at all, right? We wanted like deep industry professionals that were picking the speakers and picking the topics and picking the things because timeliness. I mean, like everything in business is timeliness. So this trade show it's been an award-winning trade show for the last several years, best trade show in the note business. And it's really because, Joe, when people come, they tell us that this is the best trade show anywhere. And so we've heard this enough. And, Dizzy Dean said it ain't bragging if it's a fact, right? So
you got that right. Yeah. And this is going to be the place to be on November 3rd, Eddie.
So anyway, we wanted to really talk about some of the speakers and some of the things that we're doing, Joe, and why we did what we did. Like, what is this about? How did we go about picking who's on here, and what we're talking about? So, Joe, you got some speakers here that I think you can probably scroll down and let's talk about this for a minute.
Yep.
So
we start off with Mr. Eddie Speed right there and go to Bob Repass and Nathan, and got a good looking group of guys there.
Yeah.
And gals, because Miss Martha's there.
Well, a couple of things. Mitch Stephen is going to win the Industry Lifetime Achievement Award. I've known Mitch since the mid-90s. He's legitimately created over 3,000 seller finance notes. He's a great guy. This award that we give every year is about what you've done to impact the good of the industry. It's not just who's done the most business, right? It's it's what they've done with their business. And so clearly Mitch has a long since been well known in the industry and just a most lovable guy in the world. And so we're honored that Mitch is going to be there. Joe, I want you to talk a little bit before you scroll. I want you to talk a little bit about Damon West.
Eddie, Damon West is going to be our opening speaker. And this is a guy that he was a college football player, an outstanding college football player in the early 90s. And I don't remember which university he played for, but it doesn't matter. And he was hurt during the season, and his injury was severe enough that he had pain medications. And Eddie, he was hooked on one of the different high dose, high power pain medications, and he became an addict. And he tells this in his story. And he eventually went to prison, and I think he had a 20 or 30 year prison term. Wow. And right as he went to prison, he met a gentleman there who had been incarcerated for quite a while, and he kind of took Damon under his wing, and he told him a story about a coffee bean, and that coffee bean is nothing, right? A hard shell until you grind it and add water to it, and it becomes really one of America's favorite drinks, right? Yeah. Or the world's favorite drinks. And he tells about that transformation and how he was able to keep that mantra. He cleaned himself up, and he actually got out of prison early in 2010 and started on his campaign about helping others, working with folks that are still incarcerated, and then just being a true inspirational motivation for tens of thousands of people out there all over the world. So that is going to be a real treat opening up Note Expo.
Well, yeah, Damon West, we chose him. He's not a note expert. He's an expert in motivational speaking, and this is going to be a really, really powerful presentation. So thrilled to have him. I'm so look forward to meeting Damon and doing that. And as you look down this list, you start seeing really quickly, these are definitely note industry experts, seller financiers, note buyers. You just look down this. This is essentially a who's who in the industry as far as speakers. And we're just, you know, if you're in this space at all, then you know one of these guys. You know most of these guys, right? And so we're really honored to have all of these guys with us and talking about the industry. My wife Martha, if you'll go back to that, Joe, scroll
Yep,
back
right there,
please.
Yep.
My wife Martha is going to do a presentation on something that she has perfected probably more than any other single person in the note buying space, which is buying a performing note, buying the entire note, and selling a partial, and doing it within her self-directed retirement account. And so Martha's going to do a presentation talking about this partial strategy. And she's specifically going to talk about, because a lot of people ask her, and they say, well, Martha, you sell these partials to passive investors. Yeah. Well, then who is it that that you sell to? Like, what is the profile of the people that are those passive investors? And so she's going to talk about that passive investor, what they like so much about partials. We all know that Martha likes it because she can take a small amount of money and turn it into an incredible amount of money, right? But more importantly, Martha is going to talk about how she's done it for her and I, our kids and our grandkids, building legacy, doing it. And she's going to talk about the story side of that, is why those passive investors like these partials so much. What has it given them? And so pretty cool story there. Joe, go back to your screen and we'll just look. I'll pick a couple more of these guys if you want me to, and I'll talk a little
absolutely.
bit. Yeah. So
absolutely.
Jeff Watson, of course, is an industry expert attorney and has handled a lot of legal matters for our firm as well as other firms. And Jeff is continually talking about things that affect the market, risk management, right? Yeah. Risk, like what risk can we take and what risk can we not take? And he is also, along with myself, one of the founders of the Seller Finance Coalition. My old friend Lou Brown is going to be there, and he's been creating seller financing about as long as I have, and has a real successful program in seller financing. Also, Joe, we'll go back and I want to talk a little bit. And by the way, Lou's focus is on affordable housing. A lot of these guys that you see in here, they're a variety of things. Some people are very seller finance oriented. Some people are very specifically discount note oriented, and that could be discounted notes from the banks, both performing notes and non-performing notes. And so obviously we'll see a whole lot of variety, and you can kind of pick what it is in the industry that sounds the best to you. So one of the things that people ask on a frequent basis, Joe, and let's click the agenda and let's talk about this a little bit, because I want to make sure that people really realize that we have a significant day of events. So we'll give my friend Ron Eccles will be our MC, and we're so thrilled to have him come in and do that. He's a bolt of lightning when he comes in, right, Joe?
He is. He does a wonderful job, and I learned a lot from him last year as well. As far as his presenting skills, he's top notch for sure.
He is world class. So yeah, we'll give the Lifetime Industry Achievement Award, and that's a really big deal, and it's a packed house, right? There's not anybody doing anything but looking at that presentation when we introduce our Industry Achievement Award winner. And as I said, it's going to be my long friend, Mr. Mitch Stephen, and just has had a crazy high impact on the entire note industry. So for sure. One of the things that we have been deeply involved in is the Seller Finance Coalition. And then the name of our bill, Joe, is the Access to Affordable Home Ownership. And this is the Seller Finance Coalition. And we're going to have a panel of a number of different people on there, and a lot of activity and things that we're doing in Washington, D.C. to essentially get Dodd-Frank adjusted as how it relates to seller financing. So very excited about that. And Joe, you and I are going to get to present and do the Note School Case Study of the Year Awards, the winners of the case studies in our categories. And we're super fired up about that.
Yes.
And Jeff's going to do a great presentation that I think is really big. People must know that we are going to have a stronger political influence in the marketplace. So he's going to talk about political advocacy. And yeah, we've got once again, we have the ice cream break, one of the most popular things that we have at Note Expo. And then Joe, I'm going to do a presentation. That afternoon, and that presentation is going to be about profiting from insider information in the note business. I'm going to give you some inside tips about the business, and then we'll finish off the day with a couple of great things. One of them will be a defaulted note panel, and the other one will be what we call our own note talks, right? And these are short talks. Then we've got some incredibly good speakers that are going to be presenting with us and sharing their wisdom in these various topics. So pretty full day there, Joe.
Well, we top it off with a cocktail reception sponsored by Quest, right?
Quest Trust, that's it. So the next day, of course, it will be another full day. Max Keller will do kind of a bonus session, and that's going to be talking a little bit. A lot of people ask us about Note School, like what is Note School? What does Note School do? And so Max will start off the day with a bonus session, and he's going to talk about that. So we'll start early, 8 o'clock. And it'll be an optional session, and people can come to. And then keynote speaker, our second day is Mr. Nathan Long. And of course, he is the CEO of Quest Trust. And we have had a long relationship with them. So honored that they've come as a lead sponsor for our event. And then let's see, Joe, then
yeah, it's our distressed asset. Hold on. All right, yeah, distressed debt market update.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a market update with a panel, and these guys are all deeply involved in the business and buy significant portfolios of notes, and they're going to talk about what they're seeing in the marketplace. Wonderful lunch, and then scroll down just a little bit more there, Joe.
In.
Yep. And then my friend,
we got Lee coming in.
Arnold. Yeah, Lee Arnold is going to talk about creating quality notes. The key to this business and seller financing is not just making notes. It's making notes that will stick, right? And then right after that, of course, then I told you about the presentation my wife Martha is doing on partials for passive investors. Lou Brown is going to do affordable housing gold mine. And to finish the day, we're going to have an incredible presentation by the recipient of this year's Lifetime Achievement Award, which is Mr. Mitch Stephen, and he is going to talk about falling forward to financial freedom.
That's it.
And Joe, this
anybody
is
can talk about that subject, Eddie. It is our friend Mitch.
Yeah, and really, it's he what he's going to do is more like tell stories about how this all kind of related. So really a big deal that Mitch is with us. Joe, I'm gonna let you pull that down, and I want to do something a little bit special today, and I know you're there with me. I know that your power went off, so you can't be on camera, but you're definitely hanging out with me. Joe, what does Note Expo mean to you?
Eddie, I have had the pleasure to be able to attend, most of every Note Expo. And I think one of the biggest things that we hear people say, and I love people, Eddie, and I love to I love the networking that you're able to do. We have tremendous speakers. That's just a given. You've shown that, right? And then it is having all our vendors there, all the folks that you would do business with, from servicers to force-placed insurance companies to hedge funds that we can work with, and different vendors that will help you scale the business. And I think that's what we're all looking for is how to scale, how to get our time back and make it so that we can do the business on a full-time job, Eddie, as we've always said, on a part-time basis. And then obviously, like I said at the beginning, the networking piece of this, people just, it's a great spot. And we always have people say, you know what, I love networking. I love hanging out. I love talking. I learn from not only from the speakers, presenters, but just listening to other people that are in the business and what they're doing and how they're make it in their market.
Joe, so many people want to do note investing strategies.
Yes.
They don't want to own a note business. They already have a job, right? So they want to do note investing strategies, but they want it to be on a part-time basis. So our focus at Note Expo is showing you the vendors and the processes that have already been developed, so that somebody can come in and have true clarity as to how they can do this investing strategy without having to own a business like we own at Colonial, right?
That's right. That's it.
And so that's really, really, if I look at yes, we have a number of people that are participating in the event that do this full-time for a living and buy mega, many million, tens of millions of dollars worth of loans every year. Okay. Right. So yes, we have that level of people that are there at the event, but a lot of the audience, when you look around and you're trying to find your tribe, right? You're trying to find people with your story. A lot of those people are not like us, and they're not buying tens of millions of dollars worth of notes every year. They're trying to be active in the opportunity of doing the business, but they want to be Martha. They want to go be a grandma, right? My wife wants to go hang out with the grandkids. And yes, she does partials, but it's an investing strategy that she utilizes. Yeah. She's not involved on a daily basis with running the Colonial family of businesses, right?
Eddie, it's what we say, and because we know it's the truth, right? And that is, the note business is something that you can do the work once and you can get paid for a long time. And that's when you see true passive income.
That's it. All right. So here's what we're going to do, Joe, to close out the day. I'm going to get them to play our commercial, and we'll just let that end the show. But if you're considering anything in the next 2 weeks that could drastically change the direction, the future of your note investing strategy, I got to say, I can't hardly think of anything better than carving out and coming and see us at Note Expo. It's Friday and a Saturday. It's 2 full days. It will be, I will guarantee you, it will be worth your effort.
I'll back that up with you, Eddie. I promise you that you will not regret it. And I guarantee you, if we see you there this year, I'll pretty much bet that we'll see you there next year as well.
That's an absolute. You'll love the audience. You'll love clearly the education, the content, the relationship, the connectivity, and the clarity that it is going to give you about where we're at in the industry and where the biggest opportunities lie, and the right steps to make. And I'll guarantee you that we're going to introduce ideas there that I can almost guarantee you that you haven't thought of. Okay. So we're gonna play the commercial, because I want you to see there at the end. Just if we have made you consider doing this, then go to NoteExpo.com and get your ticket, and we are fired up to see you there.
We are at Note Expo.
It's amazing.
Phenomenal.
It's just fantastic.
It's like recharging my batteries. I get enthused again. I meet a lot of other people in the business. I get a lot of ideas.
Connections. I've made so many friends over the years of high-level investors, high-level business people.
You get out here and see people who are doing things on a level you're not there yet. So that inspires me.
It's been a great event. Lots of good people, lots of opportunities to network, lots of education, and the vendors are great.
Meeting all the people here from all over the country, wanting to know about notes.
And then the networking is just
all
crazy.
these people has just been stunning.
It's like coming home to a family, and it's a lot of smart people here, and everybody's welcome in. It's always good seeing familiar faces.
I'm sure it's going to empower me and lead to much better growth.
And there really is no other place you can go to figure out what's going on, like in the guts of the industry.
We're already registered, so
We have put our money down.